sir. There you go, sir.
Oh, God.
The smog is killing us today, sir. Hey, everyone. It is another day. Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. Sir, are you ready today? You're not sleeping on the job, are ya? Oh, wait, I gotta turn. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. Go ahead and go. Go ahead and go. I have absolutely no idea where we're at. Wait, hold on, Mr. Skeleton, sir. Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. I have no idea where we're at in this video. Like, what day we're on. I don't know if this is, like, one big Halloween hunting extravaganza or if we're breaking this up into two videos. I have no idea. I don't even know where we're at. It's one of those things where, okay, this early Halloween hunting season, like the early in the flesh hunting, is the most exciting. Like, I get so excited to get out and see stuff in the flesh that I fail at editing. I just need to find a better balance of going out on the hunt and editing. I think it's just the excitement, and especially with HomeGoods, when it's the early HomeGoods season, they're putting new stuff out all the time, like all throughout the day, every single day. So I'm checking there a lot in the beginning, and then as they kind of slow down a little bit, I slow down a little bit. I don't go as often. It's a journey, everybody. Anyway, guess where we're going this morning, everybody? We're cruising back out to HomeGoods. You know we are. Speaking of HomeGoods, that's where we're going. We're cruising out to this HomeGoods. I haven't been to this HomeGoods since last week. So we're checking in on this HomeGoods. I also wanted to check in at Big Mike's. Everybody, Big Mike's. See what kind of, because last time we were there, they were putting out the Vintage Spirits line and the Witchy line. And I want to see where they're at with that. And I want to look at some floral. Right now, I am honed in on Halloween floral because I got to get this mantle together. I want to look at some things for my dining room table. I'm kind of looking for more black floral for the dining room table and greenish, mossy, some black, but mainly green and kind of like a foresty bog. I don't even know what I'm thinking of, but you know what I mean? Like greens and forest greens and brownish greens and yellowish greens and all that kind of stuff in my foresty witch theme. Also, what? That guy just, this man was running like straight up, like knees up to his chest, running so fast. So we're gonna check Big Mike's, and I believe they have 30% off. Is that online only? All regular price, or is Halloween already marked down? I don't know. I need to look on the app before we go in. Then this whole video, I don't know if it's two videos now. We've been meaning to go to Kirkland's, so we're finally gonna make it over to Kirkland's and see what they're all about. Last week we pretty much focused solely on HomeGoods. We saw a couple, we went to Menards, we saw some stuff at Sam's and IKEA, but for the most part it was a HomeGoods extravaganza last week. I think this is the last day I'm hunting this week because I've got all these wedding festivities for my friend this weekend, and oh my gosh, you guys, I do not even know what I'm gonna do with myself this weekend. This weekend is, well, it's just one night. My mom, my stepdad are watching, they're coming over and they're gonna watch the kids. But one night, on the night of the wedding, y'all, I'm gonna get a full night's sleep without it, like children, dogs. I have not had a night of sleep without being woken up by a dog or a child or something of that sort. And my dogs were old forever. And with Neens, she had her back surgery. She was 10. So yeah, she was old. Like, she had bladder issues for like 10 years, everybody. So we were taking our dogs out throughout the night, waking up early, the whole thing. And just in general, when you have dogs, you get up when they're ready to get up because they got to go out and all that kind of stuff. But then with with Neens, because she had nerve damage from her back, she had some bladder issues there too. Anyway, longest story of all eternity, I'm gonna actually sleep for one entire night without a dog or a child or something waking me up. Anyways, Mr. Skeleton, we're here at HomeGoods. We're going in. All right, here we go, HomeGoods. Show us the spooky goods. Mr. Skeleton, sir. We're leaving HomeGoods, you guys, and the level of embarrassment. I wouldn't say it's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me, but I just feel embarrassed. So I go in there and we're looking at Halloween, and all of a sudden I feel like I don't know if some spit, like saliva, went down the wrong tube, or I do not know what just happened in there. And when I tell you, I was coughing so hard in there that I was gagging, like I needed water or something. I was dying in there. Like to the point where you don't know whether or not to ask someone if they're okay or avoid them because they clearly have some sort of plague. Like, it was bad. It was bad. I don't even know what it was. And then all of a sudden my nose starts running. I'm kind of sitting there panicking like, oh my gosh, like I am the plague in the middle of HomeGoods right now. And I'm falling out in the middle of HomeGoods, everybody. And my eyes start watering to the point where I have to, and I got all fancied up today. Everybody, did my makeup. I'm going to lunch today. I put on my eyelashes. Well, my eyes are watering so bad that my eyelashes start peeling off in the middle of HomeGoods, just dangling there. So here I am, like trying, I'm in the shoe section to avoid everybody. And, then I'm like, okay, I just need to leave. I need to leave. I get outside and guess what, everybody? I didn't cough. I don't have a runny nose. Nothing. Business as usual, everybody. So apparently my body just decided to be very embarrassing in HomeGoods for whatever reason. And I hope no one in there thinks that they're about to get the plague because there's nothing wrong. I don't know, Mr. Skeleton. I don't know. But do I have boogers? Because my nose, when I tell you, it was running. My eyes were running. Everything was running. And I'm coughing, gagging. Maybe I was allergic to something in there. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And I'm like, I'm leaving now. So anyways, now we're here at Big Mike's. Wait, I want to talk about what we saw at HomeGoods first. Okay. So we saw some new things at HomeGoods, a lot of the same kind of stuff, but they did have some new tabletop decor. They had a Frankenstein bust guy. They had a bedazzled spider on a stack of books. They had some skeletons doing the most inside of a pumpkin. And then it wasn't really a headless horseman. It was more of like a reaper on a horse kind of figure guy. They had some cute little harvest guys, like some little cutesy little harvest guys. They had this kind of ghoulish garden looking piece where it had flowers, these black flowers with skulls in the center, but it was all hard, like all resin. And then they had a veiled lady, and this veiled lady was more of this kind of black and white kind of look, more like a marbly look. They also had a ghost that had that speckled look. They had this big skull piece that had these mushrooms coming out of it, like the eyes and the mouth, but it was a big skull piece. And then they also had some mirrors. The one I was looking for that has the intricate mirror with the ghost, like the sheet ghost in there, I did see that one today. And I passed it up, and I know I'm going to regret that, but I decided, like, when I was talking, I was thinking, like, oh, I really want this mirror. And then I was thinking what I wanted it for was my witch mantle. But then I was like, no, you know what? I have the perfect vanity mirror that I had gotten from, I think it was At Home a couple years ago, that I think would go better with the color scheme that I'm going for in my little witchy mantle area. So I think I'm going to go with that one. It has like an eyeball on it. It looks definitely more witchy than this one did. This one's definitely more Gothic Victorian looking. It could almost look good in my bedroom, but I don't know. I'm trying to use a lot of what I have. I'm really trying to hone it in and I'm trying to be very particular this year, everybody. And it's not easy because everything is so good. If there's anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. They had a whole bunch of decor out. I mean, it was jam-packed in there already. And then, what else do we see? Oh, they had some really good ceramics. Their ceramics were beautiful today. They had some blue sky pieces. They had this crescent moon witch face ceramic piece. They had a teapot that had like a jack-o'-lantern face on it. They had like a lot of really good classic Halloween pieces in their ceramic area. And I love that they're bringing back classic Halloween because I feel like the last several years we don't see as much of that, and I love it. Also saw some plates, some classic Halloween looking plates that we see every year from, I think it's called like Eli and something. It's some sort of, they have kind of a vintage vibe. It's not Joanna Parker, but it's a very similar vibe. I also had another orange plate. What did it say? Something about their haunted house or haunted home or something on it. Very in-your-face Halloween looking. But they had some really nice looking ceramic ware in here. They had some spooky mugs that we hadn't seen yet. Some with ghosties on them. Some with Winnie the Pooh. We saw a Nightmare Before Christmas mug. So we did see some new mugs, some new ceramics in this area. It is, once again, jam-packed with ceramics in this area, but a lot of it we already saw. I didn't see any new Joanna Parker in this area. So we saw the spooky goods at HomeGoods. Anything else I'm missing, I'll show here, but I didn't get a chance to get pillows, blankets, or towels because I was dying at HomeGoods, everybody. But anyways, anything else I'm missing, I'll show here, but we saw some spooky goods at HomeGoods. Love things that stood out to me. Oh, there was also a witch. That's what I want to talk about. There was this witch that looked like the Cracker Barrel witch, but she's holding a jack-o'-lantern. She was beautiful. And then next to her were these other witches that had moss. And anyways, we're here at Big Mike's, y'all. We're going into Big Mike's. Here we go. All right, we're here at Big Mike's. Oh, what is this toxic sludge? Excuse me. All right, we're leaving Big Mike's, everybody, and I ran into Spooky Family Lilith. Lilith, if you're watching, Ghoul, I had the most fun talking to you about all the Halloween things, hair, tattoos, everything. We had so much fun jabbing our jaws, you guys. I wish you could have seen Lilith. Lilith had the coolest vibe. She's just cool. Lilith, I had so much fun talking to you. What is going on here? We've got like off-roading whole situation. Anyways, we had the most fun jabbing our jaws about all the different lines at Michael's or Big Mike's and all the things we're excited to see. And then she was going up to HomeGoods. I'm going to Kirkland's. But I'm so glad we got to meet, and oh man, I just had so much fun. It just brightens my whole day to meet Spooky Family in the wild. And Lilith is a Sagittarius, everybody. Oh man, and you know who else is a Sagittarius? My dad. And there's something about jabbing your jaws with a Sagittarius. They're always gonna have something interesting to talk about. They're so interesting, and they always have these they always have interesting lives. They always have interesting stories. I love a good Sagittarius, everybody. And interesting facts, just interesting, I don't know. I love a good Sagittarius, everybody. Okay. Anyways, we're going to talk about what we saw at Michael's here in a second, but I want to run into Kirkland's really quickly because I'm meeting my mom and my stepmom for lunch, and it is 12:30. I got to be there at 1. So we're going to run in here really quickly, and then we'll jabber jaws about everything we just saw. All right, everyone, we just left Kirkland's. Oh my gosh, I got to go back in there. I got to go back. I think I got all the visuals of Halloween, everything except for the blankets and the pajamas, because I'm running late, everybody. So we're going to have to go back and check those out because I want to do, I don't know. They had some beautiful fall things in there. I mean, just, oh, so good. So we're going to have to go back and take a gander at some of their fall stuff too. And I'm so undecided on what to do. There is a picture in there. I'll go ahead and show it here. It is beautiful. It is a big picture, and it has these candles, these melted candles. And it's this, I don't know. I feel like I really want this picture, but I'm not sure yet. So, wait, I forgot to talk about Big Mike's, y'all. Forgot to talk about Big Mike's. So, Big Mike's had, oh my gosh, they had the full witch line in all of its glory. I mean, everything was out. Everything. It was beautiful. they had a full display of all the witchiness. And some of the things we saw before, like the witchy pictures, and then they had some new witchy pictures, ones with just 3 witches in a row, and some other pictures that had a broom, some different witchy sceneries on these pieces. They had some pillows. They had a couple of different pillows in here. They had these metal pieces with these crescent moons, and one had a bat, one had a crow, and one had a cat. They had some other black cat pieces, like a little framed black cat piece that was really cute. They had some keys. I think it was like a cloche with keys hanging inside of it. They had a couple of different cloches in here that were really pretty, actually. Did the other one have moths or something in it that was really pretty? And then, oh my gosh, what else did they have in this area? Sign that said spell room on it with a bat that was really cool. They had black cats, or just cats in general, lots of different cat pieces. They had the cat lamp that we saw before, and the metal cat piece. They also had some of those shelf pieces we saw before, the cauldron shelf, and the other shelf that had all the little trinkets in it. They had these different bugs on stands. They had some other framed pieces that were really pretty. One was a bat, one was a spider, and one was a snake, I believe. And what else did, man, they had some really good stuff. These lines that Michaels is putting out, they're on another level. All of the lines that Big Mike's is putting out this year, they're all so good. They all have that little bit of darkness to it that I'm loving. I'm loving everything. And then the Romeo and Juliet line. This line is beautiful. I think this is one of the more unique lines we're seeing out there. I would love to decorate with this for Halloween. They had so many pretty pieces that could cross over into Halloween or just all year round romantic decor. They had gorgeous tabletop decor pieces and wall decor pieces, all these visuals and quotes from Romeo and Juliet, and lots of heart decor, hearts with daggers. It had that like dark romance feel to it for sure. And I thought it was a really nice break from the skeletons doing the most, even though I know a lot of people love the skeletons doing the most, especially for wedding decor, because it's more of a floral romantic goth line usually, and they have romantic skeletons there. But I will say I do like the break, and it's something totally different but still has that romantic feel, and it has that dark feel to it. It is such a good line. And they have these scales, and the scales, as a Libra, you know those scales. I was eyeballing those scales. And I feel like the scales could go with any decor. Had this feel to it, had this kind of dark Renaissance feel to the whole collection, which I loved. It's something totally different from what we're seeing out there. But if you're wanting a specific Romeo and Juliet theme and you're wanting to buy those specific pieces, they have that. But then they also have other things in their collection that don't have to be Romeo and Juliet. They can really go into any sort of romantic decor or gothic decor or whatnot, or even a Halloween decor. So they had this whole beautiful Romeo and Juliet collection. It was gorgeous. I'm just waiting for things to go on sale. I know it's coming. And usually Michael's in all of these stores, I talked about this the other day, I think I talked about it, but it started with, I feel like Kohl's has always been like this, and Joann's was like this, where they price things to mark down. And I don't know how good of a, what do I want to say, strategy it is. I'm just going to put that out there, because it's an Old Navy does this too. Because I buy Halloween, well, just clothes in general for my kids at Old Navy. And the first, like, when things are first launched and put out there, it's extremely expensive. And you're like, what the heck has happened with prices? This is outrageous. I'm never coming here again, is what a lot of people think. I think, you know, if you're just casually shopping and you come across the Halloween stuff, and maybe you're not as big of like, we shop, like a lot of us shop for Halloween every single year, so we're used to seeing kind of how people are pricing things and what happens and when things go on sale. But for just the average person who's not out shopping a lot, or even if you're new to this out there and this is your first year really buying things for your home, and because you've never had a home to decorate before, or maybe you've just moved, like when I had apartments, I didn't keep a lot. Like I didn't decorate a lot because I had to move, like I was moving almost every year and it was just a lot to move. So I didn't really start decorating. I mean, I decorated a little bit, little things here and there, but I didn't really start decorating my home until I bought my house. So if you're new to this and you're like, what is going on with these prices? Yes, prices in general are going up, so that's actually just simply happening. But also, I feel like a lot of these stores are taking nods from places like Joann's and Kohl's and these places where when they first come out, when these items first come out, they are full price, they are expensive, and then after a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks, usually 3 weeks max, they mark them down like, I'm not talking like, oh, 10% off, like 30, 40% off of some of these items. So, or like, you know, whole collections, not just items, but like full collections will go on sale for 30 to 40% off. And then they don't really mark them down. Like what I've noticed at Michael's is they mark down early 40% off, and then they don't really mark down a whole lot more after Halloween. It's really only like maybe 50% off is the most I see come off Halloween anymore. Where it used to be like 70% off, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I feel like Joann's kind of in the Halloween sphere. Joann's used to do a lot of that, where we go in and be like, whoa, this is ridiculously expensive. And then by the, like after Halloween, it was like 75% off. But then, you know, before Halloween, it was like 40% off, 30% off. So they mark things down super quickly. Like within a couple of weeks, like in a couple of weeks time, Michael's is going to have all their Halloween 30% off, maybe even 40% off on some special weekends, or you get an additional extra, like they have random weekends, or I don't know if, I haven't seen it in a while, but they used to have random weekends where you get an extra 20% off coupon off anything, not just regular price purchases, but anything, but not just deals of deals. I think just in general, longest story longer, they are pricing their items to actually go on sale. Anyway, so that's what we saw at Michael's. I'm here at lunch. I'm going to go in and eat. And then I'm gonna basically eat my entire body weight in chips and salsa, and then we'll be back to talk about Kirkland's, because we gotta talk about Kirkland's. Mr. Skeleton, sir, I am so full. I am so full. Lord. Anyway, it was so good, but I am so full. Just left lunch. It was good to go with my mom, my stepmom. What were we talking about? Oh, Kirkland's. I wanted to talk about what we saw at Kirkland's. We saw some Halloween there. It was, oh man, I love their displays at Kirkland's. They're beautiful. And, oh man, I love their pictures this year. They have the ghost back from last year. There was like a big ghost painting and it lights up, like the candle lights up. And they also had this really pretty framed picture. It was this gorgeous kind of Victorian looking frame. And I think I have little witches in there and like a big castle or something. I don't know what I was looking at, but it was beautiful. And they had a wicker looking witch hat. They had this beautiful vase that had, it was almost like a speckled look, and then it had like a texture, and then it had spiders all around it. And then what else did I see? They had some jack-o'-lanterns. They had another witch hat decor piece. It was more of a statue piece. They had some, oh man, why am I not remembering anything I saw? I think I'm just so full that my brain is thinking about a nap and not about what I saw at Kirkland's. But there was another little area that had some more Halloween things. They had this big cutout. It was like a jack-o'-lantern cutout with a witch hat. Had vintage vibes to it. They had a couple of pillows. One pillow said Happy Halloween. One said Trick or Treat. One had a bunch of Halloween looking things on it. And was there one with ghosts or dogs, or I can't remember what the other one was. But they had some pillows in here. They had this candle thing. It was like a candle holder thing. They had a metal candle holder spider. They had a group of ghosties that were, it was like a little candelabra thing. They had a glass ghost that was that speckled look. They had, oh, what else did they have? They had a sign that said boo. They had, and then they had another Halloween section that had more dishware kind of stuff. I love their dishware setups, and I love these plates this year. I love the black and white vibe they're going for. They had these plates that it looks like it has this lace design around it. And then they had the little plates. One I think was a bat, one was a spider. And then they had a bunch of that speckled look. I know it's called something, but I always forget what it's called. But it looks like speckled, you know what I'm talking about? And what else did they have in the dishware area? I feel like they had some other things in this dishware. Oh, they had this broom that had these little bowls, like little snack bowls on the broom. They had, man, their dishware was so pretty in here. They had a ghost bowl. They had a ghost looking utensil. Look, it could be a vase, it could be a utensil holder. They had these big tumblers that were bedazzled. One of them was more of a cutesy in-your-face Halloween look. And what else am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing a ton of stuff. Jack-o'-lanterns, witchy things. They had wall decor. They had several different ghosty wall decor pieces. They had witchy wall decor. They had things that said boo. They had ghosts everywhere. I mean, ghost upon ghost upon ghost, and jack-o'-lanterns and witchy things and all the Halloween vibes. Their displays were beautiful. Beautiful. We're gonna have to go back because I want to see more. They also had some vintagey kind of Joanna Parker inspired pieces. One was a pumpkin with a little clown hat on. One was a scaredy cat. And then they also had some ghosts. I think there was like a ghost, mummy ghost. There was like some pink ghosts with pink accents and ghosty pieces just in general. And then we did not get visuals of the blankets or the clothing, or I think there were a couple blow molds that were on the other side that I forgot to get. So we're gonna have to go back and take a gander when we have a little bit more time. Anyways, that is it for the hunt today, but I'll see ya when I see ya. Hey everyone, it is another day Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton in the flesh. We are back for an unexpected day of Halloween decor hunting, I think. I know we're gonna see Halloween at HomeGoods, but we actually weren't planning on going to HomeGoods. We're on our way to Costco right now, and I thought we'd look at Halloween there. Then, before we go to Costco though, it's still a little bit early, and Costco doesn't open till 10, it's like 9:24. I was like, what if we run into HomeGoods really quickly to see what kind of anything new we can find. It's a new week. We haven't been since last week. I don't even think I went last Friday. No, I didn't go last Friday. So we're gonna see what kind of spooky goods we can find at HomeGoods and Costco. So we'll see you there. We're going. Hey everyone, it is another day Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. Sir, you are getting a little close. You're cramping my spooky style, sir. What is going on? Is your pelvis not adjusted? What's going on? I don't know. We'll figure it out later. We're driving. We're cruising, everybody. And if you're thinking, Ghoul, you just ghosted us. What happened at HomeGoods and Costco? You left us hanging. What's happening? I do not know what the deal is, but whenever I ride in the passenger seat, the AC Baja blasts itself right into my microphone every time. The footage of me talking about what we saw was just like nothing but air in the microphone. I figured we could jab our jaws about what we saw at Costco and HomeGoods while we cruise out to guess where, everybody. Guess where we're going. It's gonna be no surprise to anybody at all. We're cruising to HomeGoods. Yet again, we're gonna go to the fancy HomeGoods. And then we're gonna cruise out to World Market. I really want to, I've been giving them a little bit of time because last year I went just a little too early and it's not super close to where I live. So I never ended up driving back out there. So I really wanted to give them a little bit of time to get everything out. Hopefully it's all out to where we can get a good look at their Halloween, because I have a feeling I'm not going to go back out there. But maybe we will. Never say never, Mr. Skeleton. We got a little bit of cruising to do, so while we're driving, I figured we'd talk about what we saw at HomeGoods the other day. Because HomeGoods, oh, I don't know if anyone else is feeling this way, but HomeGoods spooky mugs this year, they're spooky mugs. They are so good. They're so good. And there I was in my haul talking about how, oh, I'm just picking one spooky mug. Like, oh, just like acting like I have my life together. And then I see the spooky mugs at HomeGoods. Like, I just seen the beginnings of the spooky mugs. I hadn't seen the full 4 spooky mugs at HomeGoods. I didn't know what was coming. I was speaking in a time that had no idea the spooky muggery that was about to happen. They had some really good spooky mugs at this HomeGoods. I mean, it was fully stocked. I'm going to show it as I'm jabbing my jaws because I feel like we've talked about this the last several years. I was not super impressed with their spooky mugs the last several years. I feel like the selection was not, there wasn't a whole lot. I feel like, and the stuff that was out wasn't really that great, or they didn't have a lot of changes. It was a lot of the same kind of stuff, or very pastel-y, or I don't know what it was. I wasn't super impressed with the mugs the last couple of years. And it was a huge shift because normally I loved all the spooky mugs at HomeGoods, and I thought I was maybe getting desensitized to the spooky mugs. I was like, oh, maybe I just don't like them as much as I used to. But no, that's a lie, because the spooky mugs were mugging at HomeGoods. What I loved so much about the selection the other day is they had a ton of black and white mugs. A ton of them. They had ghosties. They had witches flying on brooms. And some of these we've seen over the last couple of weeks, just kind of sprinkled in. But together, I really got to see the full look. There's a lot of black and white. They had this one mug that it was a black and white jack-o'-lantern mug. And I'm thinking about the aesthetic of my kitchen, and I just fell in love with this thing. They had ghosty mugs, like these mugs with these cute little ghosts in frames. They had some that looked like the Williams-Sonoma cups, or like the Williams-Sonoma dishware that they have, where it has the texture on it, and then it has a witch flying on a broom. It's raining, by the way, if you hear the sound of the rain. Ooh, I love it. Just a little sprinkle, just a little something. Yes. Okay. Loving this overcast day so far. I have a feeling the sun's going to come out and Baja blast us with some humidity, but it is what it is. We're going to enjoy this for now. Anyway, so longest story longer, they had a bunch of mugs. They also had some cutesy mugs like Peanuts, and I think they had a Zero mug, so Nightmare Before Christmas, and Winnie the Pooh. So they had some cutesy mugs and cups and tumbler kind of things in here in the ceramic and glassware area. But man, the mugs are so good this year. This is testing me to the max. That's besides the point. So we saw some spooky mugs. We also saw a little Johanna. How do you guys pronounce it? Is it Johanna, Johanna? Tell me how you pronounce it down in the comments. We'll have a whole conversation about it. But I just kind of mixed the H kind of in there because I'm not for sure. I'm not sold on it. Okay, maybe I need to ask her. I saw these candy corn salt and pepper shakers I've been looking for these. They are so cute. So, I had to snag those. And I think that was the only Joanna Parker thing that I saw there. But they did have a ton of other decor. I mean, they had so much out. It was fully stocked at HomeGoods. They had all sorts of things. They had witchy vibes, like they had this pumpkin with moss and flowers. They had this bust that had floral, like purple, and they had some gothic looking things. They had this cloche with bats in it. What was the other cloche I saw? There was another cloche in there. Did it have a skull and mushrooms or something? I don't remember. They had a bunch of stuff in here, and it was all mixed together. And I don't even know half the things I was seeing. They had a bunch of the mirrors, the little vanity mirrors, the bigger mirrors. They had like the Christian Siriano mirrors. Then guess who's back, everybody? Guess who I saw at good old HomeGoods, everybody? It was the Guzzler himself. I think that's what we were calling him last year. The Guzzler. You know what I'm talking about? The one, it's like, I think it's supposed to be, it is a wine holder. But it looks... Every year, our maturity is tested by this Halloween piece. Every single year. I cannot keep it together long enough to see this as a wine holder. Ever. It's just this skeleton holding a wine bottle. But we saw that again this year. It's back in action, everybody. And then I saw the ghost wine bottle holder again this year. And I think we saw some really nice wine glasses in here too. Some pretty wine glasses, Halloween wine glasses. But yeah, so we're starting to see the beginnings of some of the kitchenware kind of stuff. We've seen the ceramic ware and canisters and all that already coming in. But I'm talking more about like the casserole dishes and the, did I see any new plates? I feel like I saw some new plates, but my brain's not remembering, so there you go. I did see a Joanna Parker drying mat that was really cute, and anything else I'm missing I'll show here. But we saw some really goods. Prime time is right now at HomeGoods. I feel like it's so good. And it's almost starting to get to the point where you know when HomeGoods is really good and then it just starts getting a little overwhelming. We're getting closer to that time. And then I feel like mid-August, a lot of people start shopping for Halloween. I know a lot of us are already shopping for Halloween, but I feel like once back to school hits, that's when I see just everyone across the board, whether you're a huge Halloweener or not, you are into, like, you're shopping for Halloween, just picking up a couple things. So then it kind of starts clearing out, and then we see Santa. You know what I mean? You know how that goes. So we've got a couple weeks left before, once I start seeing Santa, I get a little scared of going to HomeGoods. No, not really. Not because I don't like the holidays. I do. It just mentally, I'm not quite ready yet to see Santa when Halloween is still, like, in its full effect. Like, we haven't even decorated yet. We're still looking for Halloween things. We're still shopping, like, you know what I mean? Like, so some of the real estate gets taken up by Christmas, where they start sharing real estate in the stores, like shelf space is what I mean, in the stores. But I get it, because then once Halloween is over, then it's like, okay, I got to start thinking about decorating for Christmas. But by then, it's November. So I get it. I get why it happens the way it happens. But I feel like a lot of these stores are really reluctant to put out Halloween in July. What is that? July, August, September, October. So that's 3 months. So then when we see Santa in August, what is that? August, September, October. That's 4 months. What? That's not even fair. That's not even fair. If Christmas comes out in August, then I feel like Halloween has to come out in June. It's only fair. It's only fair. We're here at the fancy HomeGoods, everybody. Mr. Skeleton, we need to fix you first. Let's get you fixed up. What happened here? We're here at the fancy HomeGoods. Mr. Skeleton, sir. Mr. Skeleton. We just spent a gajillion years in HomeGoods, y'all. We were in there. We were really taking a good look at the spooky goods, I guess. But this HomeGoods, this one, the last couple years has been like, you walk in there and it is a complete disaster. And I get very overwhelmed because everything is just thrown in there. I walk in there today. I have never oh man, everything was beautifully organized. Walking into that store did something to my brain. Like, it was so beautiful. They had these displays all set up and everything was, they had this Frankenstein's monster. I know it's not Frankenstein, but Frankenstein just makes it easier to identify. So I call him Frankenstein. But they had a whole Frankenstein little display with all different cutesy Frankenstein's monsters. And mature looking Frankenstein guys, and the Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein together. It was beautiful. Then they had a whole ghosty display with all the ghosty things and ghosts everywhere, and it was just ghosts. And then, and like white and ghosty kind of things, or things that could go with the ghosties. And then they had one that was gothic looking, and it had gothic looking pieces in black and candelabras and the headless horseman, and oh man, these displays were beautiful. It was just such a way to walk in and see, it started raining again. Okay, well, every time we get in the car, it's raining, which is just, I feel like, Mr. Skeleton, it's just the day. It's a good day. They had beautiful displays in there. Then the aisles. I was like, okay, the aisles are going to be a disaster. No, they looked beautiful too. They had all sorts of stuff. Okay, there's a new trend happening at HomeGoods in their Halloween section that I kind of like. I don't think I'm going to decorate with it, but I kind of like the vibe. It's like this eerie pumpkin patch cornfield. I don't even know what, like, I guess that's just it. It's that kind of theme. They had these scarecrows. Some of them have jack-o'-lantern faces, and some of them just had the burlap bags. And it gave me, I don't know if anyone else is getting this vibe when you're seeing these things, if you've seen them yet, but they almost are giving Jeepers Creepers. Like that's, maybe it's just because I watched it the other night, it was on. So if you saw these scarecrow pieces, did you also get those Jeepers Creepers feels? Let me know. But yeah, so they had those. They had, man, oh my gosh, they had so much stuff. They did have some in-your-face Halloween. They had a whole end cap. They brought back some items. They had the jack-o'-lantern clown hat guy, and they had a ghost clown, no, witch hat, or was the ghost wearing a witch hat, I think, and some other jack-o'-lantern pieces in here, and like a jack-o'-lantern pedestal, stacked jack-o'-lantern. So they did have some jack-o'-lantern and classic orange pieces in here. They also had this big black cat wearing this witchy hat. And so we've seen the ghost sitting on a crescent moon. We've seen that over the last couple years. It's usually a smaller piece. This one was a much bigger version of that. And then we also saw the carousel back this year. The carousel, and it was actually on. So it was going around. It was so pretty. I love this piece. Classic Halloween, orange and black. Kind of has that carnival feel we're getting this year. Anyway, they had I don't even know. I'm just going to keep showing all the Halloween stuff we saw because there was so much to see. They had so many aisles plus little end cap or display areas. They had, and that's not even the ceramics they had. Oh shoot, I need to get over. Anyways, what were we talking about? Something about Halloween. Oh, that's not even the ceramic stuff. That's just the decor. They had all this stuff. They had a huge stack of skulls with a crow on top. They had other crow decor in here. They had, I don't even know. I'm just going to keep showing. Oh wait, they have a TJ Maxx right here. We're going to have to go into TJ Maxx and see what they have. Yeah, there's World Market, and there's Spirit Halloween going in right here. Oh, if we would have waited maybe one more week, we could have gone into Spirit Halloween. Anyways, we're going to go into this TJ Maxx. That's what we're going to do, everybody. That's just the decor. We saw a ton of decor at HomeGoods. I mean, a ton of decor. They also had this really cool water globe that had this huge bat on it and pumpkins. I love the vibe of this water globe. The only thing about it is I saw it at the last HomeGoods. I forgot to mention it. I saw it at the last HomeGoods, and like that we went to the other day, and a piece was broken off of it. It looked like both of the ones at this HomeGoods had pieces missing off of it because they have these little wire, like spiral little spring bats that come off of it, and it looked like they were missing, like they had fallen off. So this piece does look very fragile when it comes to that stuff. They also had another water globe that had a Reaper looking guy, and the water globe had bats that flew up into it. Oh, and then they also had this cauldron, and the cauldron had a face on it. It was a really interesting, kind of creepy looking cauldron. It had a face on it, kind of like the pumpkin faces. Well, they had a big bench, a huge outdoor bench that had ghosties, or I don't know if it's a covered porch bench or indoor bench, but it was a bench. And then they had another bench that had pumpkins and vines. It was more of a fall looking bench. And I think they had a couple of stuffed skeleton guys on there. Now seeing more gothic things, witchy things, but also just pretty Halloween things made of glass or like some mature looking pieces, really pretty things. And anything else I'm missing from this section, I'll show. But they had a huge selection. It is impossible to remember everything I just saw in there. But then we moved over to the ceramics. I did see a couple, or just, I think I saw a Joanna Parker salt and pepper shaker set. And then all the mugs we'd already seen at the HomeGoods the other day, so I didn't get a bunch of repeats. But they did have some really pretty plates. They had the spooky house plates, and they are beautiful this year. There was like this, I couldn't tell if it was an acorn or a pumpkin glass jar with this wooden top. The wooden top gave acorn vibes, but then it almost looked like it could be a pumpkin. And then they had these ceramic kind of candy dishes with the glass bowl. They almost look like gumball machines, but not. They had some butter dishes. They had one that was gothic looking, all black, and then another one did have books and like a skull, I think, on it. And then we also saw some blue sky pieces in here. So some ceramic blue sky with all the different buildings. I think was one an ice cream shop. And then they had a display that had Nightmare Before Christmas plates. It had the Royal Stafford witch plates back this year. I was really hoping they'd do a new design, but... And then they had some bowls that Eli and Anna or whatever, Anna or whatever. I can't remember what that brand is called, but it's kind of got that Joanna Parker look, but it's like that vintage vibe. And they also had a basket. It was a black ceramic basket with a ghost on it. And then they had this Pottery Barn dupe. It was this wooden plate with this pumpkin glass topper on it. And it was a pretty good size. You could probably fit a pumpkin pie in there. There was so much to see. I was just so excited. And then what else did I see? Didn't see anything new in the sheets. They just had the same peanuts ones we saw last Halloween hunting video. And then they had some blankets. But you guys, their throw pillows and blanket selection at this one is unreal. It's unreal. I've only seen a couple of pillows here and there at the other ones, but this one, I couldn't even get visuals of all the pillows because they were so packed in. I had to, I'm sorry in advance for the visuals because I couldn't pull, some of the pillows I could pull out, but some of them were so packed in that if I pulled one, the whole thing was going to come crashing down. So I just left it and got visuals of the print of the pillow. But they had some beautiful pillows this year. They had these black ones with this silver, a little bit of silver and skulls. Oh my gosh, for an all year round gothic pillow. It had a romantic gothic look to it. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Do I need any more throw pillows? Absolutely freaking not. Did I really want these? Yes. But these would be left out all year round in my living room, I'm thinking, or in my bedroom, anywhere but all year. They wouldn't be stored. So I wouldn't be storing these pillows. I'm rationalizing this, everybody. Then they also had this witchy pillow that had these cloches with these witchy items in there. Perfect for any witchy theme. And then they also had just all sorts of pillows. Bats and lots of ghosties, different ghosty prints with all different designs. Ghosts with bats, ghosts with pumpkins, ghosts with all the ghosts doing the mosties per usual. And just some beautiful pillows in here and in your face Halloween pillows in here. And then they had the stitched look, you know, that kind of like 90s vibe with the stitching. They had some of those. They had classic Halloween looking ones. Those were definitely more classic Halloween, warmer feels, just a warmer vibe to them. But they had so many beautiful pillows in here. I don't even know if I got all the visuals. Lots of ghosts though. But those skull ones for all year round, oh, they were calling my name. And then they had some blankets. They had that vintage looking blanket back. I think it used to be Cynthia Raleigh. I don't know if they're reprinting it as Cynthia Raleigh or not. But it's like a whole vintage print. We all loved this blanket several years ago. If you remember, you remember. And then they also had a really pretty witch blanket that had witches flying on brooms. And it was black and white. It was so pretty. And then they also had, what other ones did they have? They had some other ones in it. A bat one that looked kind of gothic. And they had a bunch of them, but I could barely pull them out once again because they were so smashed in there. But they had some really good blankets in here. They also had, as I was leaving and like going through the line, by leaving I mean waiting in line, they had some towels, a couple of kitchen towels. One had some spooky houses, more of a gothic look. The other one was also black and white, kind of a gothic look, but also Halloween. It had bats and witch hats and pumpkins, I think. But more of a Halloween vibe, but black and white. So they did have a couple of kitchen towels that I hadn't seen yet. And I think that is it. Anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. But they had a really good selection at that HomeGoods. I want to go back. I want to go back. They had, I didn't even get all the spooky mugs and all that kind of stuff. Some of the workers, they had 2 carts right there by the spooky mugs. So I wasn't trying to stand there and film. But most of those spooky mugs, I didn't really see any new ones. Most of them we saw at the last HomeGoods. So I think that's the only thing I missed. I didn't film there. And some of the candles that we got last time. But yeah, man. So good. That HomeGoods was so good. We're gonna have to go back. Okay, we're here at TJ Maxx. We're gonna run in here. I didn't even know there was a TJ Maxx here. We're gonna go in TJ Maxx and then we're gonna go to World Market. We're going in. We're here at TJ Maxx and it's raining on us, y'all. Oh my gosh, Mr. Skeleton. I feel like today it's been a good hunting day. It is gloomy. It is rainy. Yes, it is humid. It's so freaking humid. I don't even want to talk about it, but the goods have been good today, everybody. We just went to, where did we go? TJ Maxx. And they had so many, not a lot of pieces. It looked like they were just getting started because it wasn't fully stocked. Anyways, they had some really good pieces, some sought after pieces at this store. And in the process of just looking at Halloween, two of the more sought after pieces were gone. Not completely, they had like one left. They had there's this bust, like these bust things that are really popular this year. They almost look like a spooky, it's like Marie Antoinette meets Bride of Frankenstein, I feel like is the combo. And then they also had a small little figurine, like a little witchy figurine. She was dressed as a witch and she had balloons, and her balloons were little spooky faces. What other things did they have? Oh my gosh, they had so many good things. They had the metal Pottery Barn witch dupes, the little metal witches with the candle holders, and it was $12.99, which is a steal of a deal. I will say there is a pretty big difference. I mean, not from afar. So if you're putting her on a shelf or a mantle and you're not getting up close, that it's not that big of a difference. The biggest difference I noticed was from the side. The side profile of the witch, like the neck and the head, it's more, and the shoulders, it's a flat. It's not rounded, like it's not really finished, I guess. So it does kind of give a little bit of an unfinished look. But for $12.99, I don't know, man, I don't know. It's a pretty good deal. So, and another thing about the Pottery Barn is they put felt on the bottom so it doesn't scratch up your furniture, or at least mine have felt on the bottom so it doesn't scratch up furniture, which is appreciated. But for the price you're paying, it better have felt on the bottom, you know what I mean? And then it also has the rounded finishings, like it just looks more like a total figure. There really are no corners cut on those pieces, so you pay for that, I guess. But the $12.99 is such a steal. Like, I don't even know if I could even be mad at that. It's so much of a difference in price that I don't know. I think it would be your personal call on what you're looking for. But I hadn't seen it yet. So there were a lot of pieces I hadn't seen yet. They also had the tabletop vanity mirror looking thing with the witch inside. These vanity mirrors are beautiful, but they're kind of hard to see. Like, it has to be dark in order to see what's going on with them. But it had a witch picture on the inside of the mirror. This one might be my favorite one I've seen. They also had so you know the swings doing the most? They had a crescent moon with a ghost swinging off the crescent moon. I loved this piece. I wanted it so bad, but I don't even know where I put it. It doesn't really necessarily, I guess it could go in my in-your-face Halloween stuff, but not really. It's kind of just its own thing. It's its own vibe, and I love that about it, but I just don't really, unless I have an exact place for something or an exact idea of what I want to do with it, I'm just trying to not buy it. It's so hard. If I just bought I think we were talking about this in the comments, if we just bought everything that we wanted, like, it's gotten so hard. All right, so what else do they have at TJ Maxx? They had a couple of different witchy pieces, some witchy statues. There's a larger witchy statue, a smaller witchy statue. They had a toad and a dress. They had a little terrarium, I think I'm saying it right now, terrarium thing that had a little spooky setting on the inside. They had some metal spider candle holders. They had some of that speckled looking, it's called something, I always forget what it's called, but that speckled looking glass. They had a reaper guy, and they had, I almost said a reefer guy. Reaper guy, big difference. Or is there? I don't know. Anyway, and then this light up ghosty guy. They had a stack of pumpkins with the faces. They had this really pretty stained glass looking framed piece it was a skull with a crow on top. Did they have some other framed pieces? I don't even know. Everything in there we hadn't seen before, pretty much. I mean, I think there were a couple things, like some black cat pieces and stuff we had seen in there, but there was a lot in there that we had not seen yet. There was like a big Day of the Dead looking statue thing, and all sorts of skulls and skeletons and darker pieces, and then there was this skull candelabra looking thing. They had some really pretty pieces in there, so do not sleep on your TJ Maxx's, because TJ Maxx just by itself has some really good stuff that I hadn't seen at any of the HomeGoods places. So that was TJ Maxx. We saw the spooky goods. Anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. But man, I was really excited. Now we're here at World Market. We're going to run into World Market, see what kind of spooky goods they've got, and then we are done for the day. We're going to run into World Market really quickly. Here we go. All right, Mr. Skeleton, sir, we're leaving World Market, everybody. And they had some Halloween. I don't know if they're just starting to put it out. I think they're just starting to put it out because some of the workers were over there kind of planning some things out or doing something. And so I think they're still getting it out. But it also looks like they could either they're getting stuff out or it's picked over, but I don't think it's picked over because the stuff that was out was fully stocked. So I think they're still putting it out. Anyway, they had some spooky goods. The first little area we saw was this little display and it had some ghost items on it. And I am loving these spooky wind chimes this year, these Halloween wind chimes. I'm loving them. We saw some at HomeGoods, saw some at World Market just now. We saw a ghost one and a skull one. And the skull one was more of a gothic look. And then they also had some little, like a ghost candle with these little ghosties. They almost looked like they're in a little bathtub. They had some little cute little ghosty pieces in here. They had a ghost metal wreath and some ghosty things in here. They also had some spooky mugs. They had a cauldron mug. They had a ghost mug and a glass ghost. Like they had a ceramic ghost mug and a glass ghost mug. And then they also had, was it a little zombie guy, Frankenstein or a zombie guy or some sort of face of some sort. And what I love about World Market is I love that they have decor and they have little gifts. Like they have great gifts in here. Like you could get a little spooky mug and then they had some Bones coffee there. So you could get some Bones coffee and make it a whole little spooky package. They also had this big spell book full of tea, so you could either give the coffee or the tea or whatever, whoever likes. And then they had some Halloween pasta, they had some pumpkins, and then some black and white bow ties. They had some spooky hand towels with some ghosts on them. Like one of them was like a ghost wearing a little beanie. And then they had some little ceramic dishware. They had a little plate that was a hand, one that was a ghost. They had a little cauldron canister thing. They had a cookie jar that looked like a crystal ball with these skeleton hands wrapped around. And then I also think they had some towels in this color scheme over here too, some hand towels. And, but yeah, some cutesy little ceramic items in here and plateware, dishware, all that kind of stuff. But it still looked like they were putting some stuff out. And then they had some neon looking signs. One of them said "Stay Spooky," which I thought was really cute. I almost got that one, but I didn't know where I was going to put it. But it said "Stay Spooky." One said "Boo." But they had some neon looking signs and some outdoor, like some lighting and garland, like lit garland. And they also had some terracotta pumpkins under here. They also had some other decor things like streamers or little like paper type of decor things, like little party wear kind of decor. And they had a little bone zone with some bones, like a skeleton flamingo and some bones. They also had a little decor section that had more of this kind of whimsical look to it. Like they had some yoga skeletons, some skulls in here, and some mossy things. I think they had a mossy wreath, like a crescent moon wreath with a crow. And the other one was a wreath with a little house in it. And they had and they also had some jack-o'-lanterns that almost looked like they were dried up. And then what else? I'm jumping around a little bit because I was jumping around as I was looking at things because people were looking around. And then they had their little town, like, you know, those little houses, they do little buildings, but they're almost, I don't know if they're wooden or paper. I can't remember what, I thought they were like little wooden, I don't know. But anyways, they're these little houses. One was a mid-century modern house that looked so cute. And remember that one year when At Home did a little mid-century modern Halloween section? Or was that Christmas? Was it Christmas? No, they did Halloween too, I thought. Because I thought they had like a little Bride of Frankenstein looking girl in there. I don't know. Maybe, no, I thought they did Halloween. I thought they did. Anyway, they had little mid-century modern houses. And I loved this one. It had little skeleton flamingos and it was a whole vibe. It was so cute. And I wish they'd bring that back because I think it's its own vibe and I think people would love it if they went all out with it. And then they had a Victorian looking house that I absolutely want to live in. And they had a little, what was like a little trick or treat stand or something, or treat stand They had just some other little, like some of the little buildings or little attractions. And then they also had some other cutesy things in this area. Like, oh, they had some little nutcrackers. They had one that was a skeleton looking guy and one that was the headless horseman. And when I tell you, I do this every time. Years ago, when I broke my headless horseman, if you remember, I was laughing at myself because I was looking everywhere for his head. And I knew the dang headless horseman did not have a head. I know this, everybody. I know this. But in just, when you break something and you're looking for missing pieces, in your mind, when I was looking at it, like not as the headless horseman, I was thinking about his head and where it went. But there is no head. The head does not exist. And the same thing, I was looking at this decor piece, and when I was looking at it from afar, I thought it was broken because I saw the skeleton guy, and then I saw this guy next to him, and I was like, oh, that one, the head must have broken off or something. And then I got a closer look, and I realized it was the freaking headless horseman, Mr. Skeleton, the whole time. So it was the headless horseman, and I love that this nutcracker is headless. I love it so much. It's perfect. And then, what else? They had some other cutesy things in this area. And some beaded things. Like they had beaded, I forgot it in the other area. They had a beaded placemat that was a spooky house. And a beaded table runner. I think that was also, it had some spooky houses on it. This one, in this area, I think there were some other beaded table runners with various things on them. And some other cutesy things, I think, in this area. And then they had the gothic wine glasses back, and the martini glass, and the rocks glass with the bat on it. Oh, I love these. They're back this year, and they had the vampire wine and some other wine, but they had that glassware. And they had some other glassware in this little witchy area. They had once again, some beaded placemats and a beaded table runner that went with the witchy theme. But then they also had, they had some hand towels. And then they had these martini glasses that were super cute. They had one had a little ghost, one had a little bat, and one had a little witch hat on the martini glass. And they had a stemless wine glass with one had bedazzled witches, the other one had bedazzled ghosts. And then, what was it? Oh, and then they had one that had a gothic look to it, and it had this kind of damask print all around it. Oh, and then they had this wine glass that I loved. And it had this spider and skulls, and it was kind of this gothic looking goblet situation. It was beautiful. And then what else am I missing? I think there was more stuff here and I'm not remembering it all. A lot of it almost looked like repeats from last year. Did anyone else feel this way? Or maybe that's just what they have out so far and they're going to get more out, but I feel like a lot of it was repeated from last year, and there wasn't a whole lot out yet. I maybe should have waited a week and we could have gone to Spirit Halloween, or I don't know when that Spirit Halloween's opening. But maybe we should although that TJ Maxx was so good today. It was good. It was good. So we might have to go back and take a gander and see what else they have out. Because they did have some Halloween snacks and some Halloween wine and Halloween beverages or spooky beverages like lemonade and cream soda and stuff like that. So they did have some cute stuff, but I think the chips were bacon flavored. I don't know, man. I don't know about the bacon. Maybe we should have gotten them to try them. We're going to have to go back, most likely. Hey, everyone. I'm hanging out here in my cozy, spooky robe, pretending it's October. Anyways, I wanted to do a proper send-off because I felt so bad. The last couple of Halloween hunting videos, I never know exactly when I'm ending the video. Like if I'm going to add another day, if we're going to go to maybe a little store here and there, or if I don't know when we're going to go on the hunt and then when we're done for the week. So I end up not doing an outro. And then in the last day, I was just finishing editing, and that last day my camera overheated, so I just cut off mid. I don't even know what I was talking. Who knows what we jabber jaws about around here. Anyways, I wanted to do a proper send off and say thank you so much for hanging out here and Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. We're back on the hunt this week. We'll be back out there looking for the Halloween goods. It is August. Happy August, everybody. So we're going to be seeing all sorts of stores putting out Halloween this month. We're already getting started. Like the beginning of the month is already off to a really good spooky start. Most stores put out Halloween in August. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Halloween this month. I am so excited and I want to start decorating sooner than later. Are you guys decorating? Let me know what's happening, what you guys are doing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey ghoul hey down in the comments because you know I love talking to you. And anything else you want to talk about in this video, anything you've been enjoying, anything in this video that you saw, that you liked, or that you picked up, or whatever it is you want to talk about, if you're decorating, all things Halloween or not Halloween, anything you want to talk about, we can jabber jaws. And yeah, anyways, thank you so much for hanging out here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.